welcome again to another exciting episode of King Me Revs Hype Podcast. And today we happen to have another very special guest of mine. You know, last week you would have seen that we had a photographer on. This week we have genuinely, and I mean this with all due sincerity, one of the hardest working men in professional wrestling today. And I've told you, my audience, many, many times that I speak to not just professional wrestlers, but wrestling professionals, people of all walks of the industry and the business, because they have genuine perspectives. And let me tell you something. I don't know too many people who work as hard as this man. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, humans of all genders, please welcome CineMark. Mark, welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so much fun.
Right? It's always great to see you. It's always great to talk to you. I'm trying to think if there isn't a place you've been at this point. I mean, I feel like I've seen you everywhere, right? I mean, you're at the Open religiously, that's for sure. But I've seen you pop up here, there, and wherever.
Yeah, I mean, I've done at least in the past 4 years of being a wrestling videographer, or camera guy in this case. I've done probably at least 10 or 11 different promotions here in New England. It's crazy to see how far I've come so far, and just being able to get these opportunities and just go anywhere in New England. If you go to a random wrestling promotion, you'll just randomly see me either ringside or you'll see me at hard cam. It's almost like I clone myself and I can just spread myself anywhere, It's crazy, But
you're not wrong, man. I feel like there's been a couple of times where we've seen you 2 or 3 times in the same week. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Limitless Wrestling, Focus Pro, Wrestling Open, Beyond Wrestling. I mean, you said 11. I'm sure the list keeps going, guys. And you do damn good work, sir. Let me give you the kudos right off the top here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I would do a standing ovation, but then the camera wouldn't see me anymore, and that'd be very awkward. So I'll do a sitting ovation, everyone. It's wonderful. It's the same thing, close enough. Hardworking guy. And this gentleman, Mark, is such a nice guy. He actually said he would come on this show while he's on vacation. Who does that? Nobody, but Mark does. Let me make it clear. He's such a great guy. That's how he rolls, man.
Hey, anytime help out with people who really do, like you and everyone else who love professional wrestling so much and are able to interview these amazing people. I really do anything to help you people out. It's truly an honor.
Yeah, man. It's definitely an honor to have you today. JJ and I love seeing you every time we do. We do get to see you. Fortunately, she didn't get to be here today because Thursdays is the day of the horseback riding. And I'm sure I'm going to hear all about it in the morning when she's sore, because it is a lot of work. People like to think that riding a horse is this romanticized, fun thing. And I'm not saying it's not fun, but it's definitely hard work. And you should probably have a strong core if you're going to do it, because otherwise the horse is going to kick your butt. Let me tell you.
Yep. I've only done horseback riding, I think only once or twice in my life. And it was probably when I was very young and I was very terrified of getting on a horse. So I was just nope, I'm not doing this again. But if I had the chance to go horseback riding again, I would, today, just to see what it feels like. I'm sure it's obviously, yeah, like you said, it's a lot harder than you think. You got to have a lot of strength to stay on that horse, or else you're just going to, he'll slingshot you right into the air.
Right. Core strength, balance, got to be paying attention, because it is a very strong animal and you are working with it, and it can work against you if you let it. So it's a whole lot of more than people think. They watch too many movies of people galloping on a sandy beach somewhere or something, I think. I don't know.
Seriously.
Now, I feel like we already started off with the curveball going right into horses, but you do professional wrestling, you do wedding videography. I'm definitely going to want to touch on a little bit of those topics today. But I figured I would start out with the proverbial question that everybody always wants to know. You know, what came first, videography or professional wrestling as a passion for you?
That's really interesting because I went to Dean College in Franklin, Massachusetts, with a major in communications and film, and I received my bachelor's degree in 2022. And I think I started watching wrestling when when I was 18. I'm not like one of those diehard wrestling fans who watched it when I was 5 years old, having the big pillows, the stuff buddies, like all the action figures, everything. I didn't have all that stuff. I didn't watch wrestling when I was that young. I started kind of late. Like I'm 26 now, and I started watching it when I was 18. So that was like right before uh right when I got into college, actually. So it's hard to say like which one really came first, but because I knew I wanted to go to college to do filming. My parents gave me this because originally I was going to go in as an undecided major because I didn't know what I wanted to do like for college. I knew I wanted to go to pursue something, but I didn't know. And my parents said, you enjoy watching TV so much, and you enjoy computers and watching YouTube videos. Like, why don't you see how it's done? Why don't you see how these TV shows or like news news channels, like how do they do it? Like how do they work behind the scenes? Why don't you go do something for film? And I thought, okay, that'd be pretty cool. So I went for it, and I have no regrets since. I think I would want to say that wrestling came first before filming, but it's really really close because I started watching wrestling right as I got into college, so they're really really close.
Yeah, and we have such a weird society where we think that 18-year-old children who really haven't had any experience in life should magically know what they want to do with the rest of their life. And that's insane because I know 60-year-olds that have no clue what they're doing, and they're practically out the door, my friend. So, um, kudos on your parents. Let me just point that out because with all due respect to the universe, I've heard too many stories of parents not being very helpful, we'll say. So I kudos to your parents for being helpful in the idea that they pushed you in the right direction, man. That's wonderful that you had that kind of like love and support. I mean that genuinely. As a father myself, I always have to point those out to the other parents because I feel like one of the biggest things about being a parent is being a parent um that you wanted to have when you were a kid. And I know, like for myself, when I decided to go to film school, I had so many people, especially the old generations, going, "Why would you do that? No one could ever make money." Blah 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 blah. This is going back to, 2000s, early 2000s, where when I'm going to get my bachelor's in film, and you know, little did they know that YouTube and all this stuff was going to explode. And sure enough, people are making millions of dollars, Mr. Beast, just posting videos on the internet. So little tells them little what they knew. But yeah, kudos to your parents. I low key felt like you were calling me out. I literally have my 1998, I feel like it is, Sting stuffed fighting buddy, whatever the hell you call him, right over there in a box. So
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing.
like he got me, man. He got me. I'm one of those nerds that watch wrestling since he was a wee lad, right? And just kind of never stopped. So my house is full of ridiculous nonsense that I probably should have, would have, could have got rid of a long time ago. But forget it, man. It's Sting. I don't give a shit. What am they're gonna? It's not like I fucking keep them around and play with them. It's a memento from 30 years ago, and I love it. All right, so
Yeah, nothing
judge
wrong
me
with
on
that. Keep
exactly.
it as a decoration. You don't have to play with it. Just shows that you know how much you love professional wrestling and how much you love Sting and how long you've really watched him for. Like Sting is an
Right,
icon, 100%.
fucking icon. And I don't know if you have had the pleasure of meeting him, but have you got to meet Sting before?
Unfortunately, no, I haven't. But it's on my list of wrestlers, on my long list of wrestlers I want to meet in the future, and Sting is definitely one of them. If he comes to like a Comic Con or any sort of con in that's happening in the New England area, I will go and I will meet him for sure. Like I didn't. I wasn't the biggest fan of him. Like, I didn't watch him like that much because, like I said, I started watching wrestling when I was only 18. So I tried to, watch wrestling, back in like the late 90s and everything. It's tough, with that generation and this generation. It's hard to see like, oh yeah, this was him. This was him when he was younger. Like, oh, who's this person? Oh, like just discovering all these wrestlers that you'd never heard of before, like in the 90s until like now, is pretty fascinating, if you say.
Yeah, and to put that to a point, I'm sure it's even harder to go back and watch that product because some of it is just garbage. And I feel like we've praised the Attitude Era as being this exalted, above all, amazing, immaculate stuff, but we don't remember how much if you go back and watch now, they really hot-shotted through storylines in a month, right? Like all of a sudden, this is going on, and this is going on, and that's over already, and you're like, where did that go? So going back and rewatching it, it's tough. It can be tough.
There's only a certain amount of storylines you can keep track of until all of a sudden there's like 15 more storylines, and you're like, wait, how did this happen? So now you have to do your research, and it just takes forever. Like,
right.
Take one storyline at a time.
Exactly. And I do always suggest there is a great, I'm going to have to remember the name of the YouTube channel eventually, but he does a really great step-by-step breakdown of reliving the war between WCW and WWF back then. He literally goes through, he has started the first week of it, and he's been going through every single week for the past couple of years, and he does a really great job of keeping you engaged and stuff. So if you're ever interested in actually reliving that stuff, it's much easier to have a guide than it is to just go back and watch and be confused as hell, right? Just confused.
Yeah.
But Sting, quick story, I did have the absolute privilege of meeting Sting last year, and he was in full Wolfpack gear, which meant a lot to me because I've been a Wolfpack fan since, forever. And the crazy thing about it was this would have been in the at WrestleCon in last year's WrestleMania, which was obviously still in Las Vegas. And I got not only a trio shot where it was me and my brother taking a quick photograph with Kevin Nash, Lex Luger, and Sting, but then I made sure to go find him after the fact. And it was crazy because they had put him in his own special club. Like they had shut the club down specifically to make sure it could handle all of the Stingers, right? The Sting fans to come in and take pictures with him. And by the time I got around to finally being able to speak with Sting, right? There was no line. There was zero line because most people were still in line to either see Ric Flair or Mike Tyson, who at that time had yet to show up after about 4 hours, I think it was. Maybe more. So I got very fortunate where I got to just walk into the room, and there is a Sting in the red face paint with the most ominous lighting you could ever think of. Let me tell you, it was very ominous. Just sitting there just staring at me. And I was just like, holy shit, am I going to die in here? Is Sting going to kill me? Is Sting going to kill me with a baseball bat? Let me tell you, when you have that light shining up and it's just that red makeup and he's just like, you know what I mean? I thought
you just want to run away.
Run away! I turned into like a 8-year-old kid thinking he was going to swing a baseball bat at my head or something. To be fair, they had those commercials where he beat kids up all the time, so it wasn't a far-fetched concept back then. He did. I mean, granted, I know I get it was a work, guys. He was on a commercial. It wasn't real. It was just sprites or whatever. But when you're a kid, you're just like, why is Sting just running into people's houses and beating up children? A little sketchy. All right.
That's not Sting. That's not how we remember him. Terrible things. And I can imagine it's like probably going up to him in person and asking him these questions. Like, why would you break into that person's house and beat that kid up with a bat?
Right. Exactly.
Just wanted to say like, no comment.
Right. No comment. So who were your guys, right? Who were your guys? What like that when you started out watching this stuff, who did you gravitate towards?
So for me, it was the company that I started off first was WWE. So obviously, John Cena, The Rock, The Miz, Finn Balor, all these amazing guys. Like it's hard to say like, which guys were like, my guys. Like I don't usually have favorites of everything. I just like, watch whoever I really want to watch. And if I like that wrestler, I'll just keep doing it. So, but I would say for me, it was definitely John Cena and The Miz. Because funny enough, I actually didn't tell you this. I did actually watch one wrestling match one time, actually, when I was younger, like for the first time ever. That was like a one-time thing. I forgot what show it was. It was a WWE pay-per-view, but it was John Cena versus The Miz in an I Quit match. I think it was like pay-per-view called like Off the Limit or something. I don't know. I need to do my research again and check it. But that was like a show that happened like in 2011, I would say. But that was only one match that I saw, and it was the two of them like battling in an I Quit match. So if I were to say like, who are like my guys, will definitely be at the time it was definitely John Cena and The Miz.
Man, some good names. The Miz gets messed with a lot because of his character, but at the end of the day, he's been a long running, stable professional for a couple of decades now. And he literally came up from not knowing Jack to, I mean, like multiple time IC champion and world champion. So kudos to him for sticking it out all the time.
Future like Hall of Famer for sure. Like he's like 100%. Veteran in WWE. Like the amount of crazy things that they made him do, like whether it's good or whether it's terrible, like he just delivers and he just gives it 100% all the time because he loves what he does. So I give him all the credit in the world for putting up with whatever creative had for him at the time he started and to now, basically.
Yeah, I mean he's been doing all that wild, wacky stuff with Danhausen the last few months, this whole year. So like, who else would really just like he's just been goofing off with Danhausen, doing some of the most ridiculous stuff, and I'm here for it. I love it. So
for me, honestly, it's not really my cup of tea. Like I don't really enjoy like what they're doing with him. I'm like, come on, this is The Miz. This is like I said, this is a future Hall of Famer. This is a world champion, and now you're making him look like this Frankenstein character, like character for Danhausen. I'm like, what are we doing here? What storyline is this going on? But I understand, Danhausen is obviously, really huge in the WWE now. He loves the kids, love him. Everyone loves him. They love his character. They love the curse and everything. Like it's entertaining for sure. Just some things aren't always my cup of tea, but I'm not gonna like prevent you. Like if you guys enjoy watching it, then please do watch it. I'm not gonna tell you what to do.
Right. As Brian Zane would say, like what you like, just don't be a dick. Right.
True.
So true. So how did you actually get into the wrestling business itself? Like, I'm very curious, and and I'm wondering, did you train? Because you got in the ring. For the uninitiated, we saw you at RWA last year at a Rumble. You got in there. You were holding the camera. You put the camera down. You gave it to a referee, and then you got in there. You got all over Jeremy, and then once you were eliminated, you got back on the camera. So, tell me, did you get trained?
So no, I was never trained. Honestly, for me, I have no intention of being a professional wrestler. If I'm being honest, I have a very fragile body. Like I've gotten hurt like a lot of times, and I'm easily able to get hurt a lot. So, and I can't do all these amazing flips and tricks and all these amazing things that these wrestlers have trained so hard for many years. Like my body is not capable of doing that. Like I'm already developing like. At 26 years old, I'm already developing like arthritis in one of my fingers, and it's not fun. So I am not like a very physical person. But what's crazy about the Rumble is that I asked T Phoenix, who was the owner of RWA, like I asked him like, hey, like I know the Thanksgiving Throwdown, that's what we called it, is coming up, and I just wanted to do it just for the fun of it. I wanted to do, just to entertain the crowd and just get a good pop and everything, see if the crowd will like it or not. I asked them like, hey, if you need like an extra body to be in the Rumble, just to be in and then go out, like I'll do it as long as I'm not doing any fighting. Like I'll do it. And he said, yeah, definitely. I'll let you. We'll stay in touch about it. And short time later, I saw the list of like people who are doing it, and my name was on there. So I'm like, oh, okay, we're actually doing this. And so we went over like how it was going to be done. And obviously the day of, I was shaking. I was so nervous. I was afraid something was going to go wrong. But as soon as my name was called, I handed off the camera to someone else. I got into the ring. Everyone was cheering for me. I think that's the most like anyone has cheered for me like as a cameraman. Like nobody really cares that much about the camera people. They're just in their way. They always want to complain like, hey, camera guy, move. We can't see anything. But the fact that I got like a pop and everything like was just so good. I threw Jeremy's ass over the top rope. I got my first ever elimination, and then everyone started surrounding me, and I was like, nope, I'm not cut out for this. I don't want to get beat up today. So I eliminated myself. So to this day, I've never been eliminated, and I've had one elimination. So it's truly an amazing moment for myself, as not only as a worker for the professional wrestling, but as a wrestling fan in general. Like it was truly an amazing honor.
Yeah, and for the people who were not familiar with this particular event, this man's being humble. He got the biggest pop of the night. I'm just going to be honest. You got the biggest pop of the night by far. When you got in that ring, people were like mostly confused at first, but they just lost their mind. And then when you got Jeremy out of the ring, I thought the roof was going to blow off that place. It was a wise decision for you to just take yourself out after that thing, but kudos on you and getting the LOD pop, as they want to say, the Road Warriors pop, man. People are losing their stuff.
Yeah, the amount of people that came up to me after the show saying like, bro, you got like the pop of the night. You got the pop of the night. I'm like, really? Are you sure? Like, I don't want to take anything away from these wrestlers who work so hard. I'm just doing it for the fun of it. But right. They always it's always like it's always crazy to get a cheap pop whenever you see whenever there's a Rumble event and you have, the wrestlers coming in and rumbling and everything. But then, when you have participants who are non-wrestlers, like videographers, photographers, anyone from the audience could come in and you can just come in and just have a little bit of fun. Like it gets a good pop out of there. Like, especially like, there are a couple times where I've seen shows where they have like Rumble events at breweries and like beer halls and everything. And then sometimes you see the owner of the beer hall like come in and like have fun. Like that gives a good pop because everyone knows like, if people who have been coming to that specific brewery for a long time, they know who the owner is. So that obviously, they're going to cheer for him. They're going to get a good pop. So overall, it's just fun to, just to be a part of it, for being a fan for so long, you just want to have a little bit of fun nowadays. So it was a lot of fun.
Right. Exactly. And you know what? Like, it's not like the WWE hasn't done it. They had Drew Carey getting in there. They had Pete Rose getting in there. They've had all kinds of people getting in there, right? Whether it's a Rumble or having Jelly Roll actually wrestle a whole match. We'll put air quotes, wrestle a whole match. And, for the uninitiated who want to roast me in the comments, I put air quotes, all right? Wrestle a match. But kudos to you for doing it. For, you're not trained, so you're not necessarily prepared for everything. You're normally on the other side where people aren't paying attention to what you're doing, quite frankly, unless you're in their way. So the fact that you're like, here's the spotlight, let's go. Kudos to Phoenix for like, yeah, we can make this work. And, not to break the wall down too much here, but I have to say, especially because you're wearing the shirt right now, right? I have to give genuinely and sincerely when it comes to the Phoenix family, right? Because I've had AJP on the podcast. What a great guy, right? What a talented guy. Him and I, have a great conversation for like, I think it was 3 hours or something. It was out of control. But
crazy.
with everything going on, and I'm not going to go into details because details are the devil's in the details, and I don't need to go there. But I'm just going to say the fact that the RWA, and you guys can look into it yourself and realize all these details, but the fact that the RWA is making a show that's going to benefit. I almost got emotional right there. It's genuinely going to benefit, Jeremy and Roxanne after what has happened. I just want to say thank you so much. Like JJ and I talk about it all the time. We tell so many people about the idea that this wrestling community is the best family we've ever had, quite frankly. I'm just going to say it. We're the best family we ever had. We feel like, JJ and I feel like we have so many friends that if something happened, they'd have our backs. And when we tell that to people who are not in this wrestling community, they kind of think like, we're crazy, man. You're crazy. There's no way these like random people you kind of know at a wrestling show would ever give a shit about you. And then you have a devastating tragedy like what happened with these folks, and they fucking stepped it up. And I can just say to everybody who donated money into the RWA especially, thank you for proving that you give a shit. Whether it's about me or not, it doesn't matter. The fact that you gave a shit, that you showed up and that you put it out there, holy shit. I don't mind being right about things. Normally I say in life it pays to be wrong, right? However, in this particular instance, I love the fact that I was right. And I love the fact that these people are getting taken care of. And all my best love to them. And I hope they make $1 million goddamn dollars. And hopefully I get to be there. I'm not sure, but hopefully I get to be there. And I might even just buy tickets anyways, even if I can't show up. I'll just be honest.
No, it's truly amazing, what the RWA has done for like so many people, not just with Roxanne and Jeremy and their daughter, like for everyone, for like so many people, they always want to contribute and help out with whoever we consider is family. And those are like the people who like just show up and just do so much hard work for us. Like it's our way of like giving back to the people. And, obviously, yeah, I agree. What happened recently with Roxanne and Jeremy and their daughter, little Jilly, like it's a tragic day. Like we are so happy that, she's all right. She's recovering. She's doing well. Like they went to see the best doctors like they could ever go to. Like, I mean, it's completely unfair for someone that little to go through that kind of experience. So it felt really necessary for all of RWA's legacies, proceeds and payments and everything, like merchandise and literally any money that we can get is going to go directly to them because they deserve it after everything that they've been through, especially with what both Jeremy and Roxanne like give to the RWA. Like it's a perfect way for us to give it back. So I give my full like applause and credit to T for allowing this to happen and just making a good tribute for Giuliani. Like it's truly it's the right decision, honestly. Like that's to me why honestly, I'll say it here. Like RWA has honestly been my favorite promotion to work with. Honestly, like I know I started out, with chaotic wrestling back in 2022, and then Fight Life a little bit later, and then I got introduced to RWA. But something about RWA just really makes me feel comfortable, just being who I am, being surrounded by so many incredible talents who love having conversations with me, and have become like great allies for me and great friends to me. Like, and just the things that they do for people is just truly amazing. And I can truly say, like, that's why I'm wearing this shirt to represent RWA, because to me, like, that's my home. That's literally where I want to continue being, their main camera guy for as long as I can. And, it's why, they gave me these, they gave me this opportunity to be in the Thanksgiving Throwdown Rumble and then little side note, having this whole little feud with Jeremy after, which was a lot of fun. But just in general, RWA is truly my favorite promotion I've worked with, and I am so happy to be a part of that family. And I'm glad that you guys are able to join us and come to our shows and just have fun. That's what truly matters.
Right. No, you said it best. And AJP was on the show and he talked about the fact that the whole wrestle prom, right? And how it meant a lot to him because he didn't get to have a prom and he realized that there was probably many other people that didn't get to have a prom or didn't get to feel like they were welcome at their own prom, even when they went. So, I really had to give him his kudos on that for him to be conscientiously aware, that we as wrestling fans, we are a niche, right? We're a niche. Let's just call a spade, man. It's not a shocking development here, guys. We are a niche group of people. So if one of us felt like an outsider, we probably all did at some point, right? So the fact that we have found our group of people and we're no longer outsiders, right? In this group, it's wonderful to see people like T Phoenix and AJP doing stuff like that. So they remind you that you are part of the family, right? And I've talked to, on the podcast at least, I've had Mike Grassa, who's loved up and down RWA stuff. Patrick Saint, he's been on the podcast, and I could keep listing names that seem silly. But all of those people said wonderful things about the RWA. And not to say that we needed any more proof, but this is the best proof you could get, in my opinion. It's cement shoes, my friend. So kudos to them. I just wanted to make sure I said it because it's absolutely insane. And I love it so much. And it's like just a great representation because I feel like at any of the shows I've been to, really, JJ and I have just been always welcomed in, and we get hugs and we give hugs and we get love and we give love, and we've just been super great. And it's so nice and wonderful to feel like that there's a family here and we actually give a shit, right? So
anyone that comes to our shows, is going to be, as long as, they continue to come in and support us and, support what we do, they're considered family. So you and JJ are definitely considered family, just showing all the love and support that you guys have given to us. It truly means a lot. It's, it's what keeps our promotions going, it just keeps the fact that, fans like you guys keep showing up, keep supporting, keep doing whatever you can to help out. That's what's truly important, wanting to contribute and do whatever you can to help the promotions grow. So, and that's a huge thing for RWA. We always want to step up our game all the time. We always want to do new things and try other things and introduce other people into the promotion and just build the community up to the best that we can. It's not always going to be, 100% the greatest promotion of all time. We're just doing what we love, and we do it for the people because we love our fans. Truly, the fans show up and they give us support, and it's our way of giving it back. I know I've said that before, but it's true. We find ways to give back to the people who show us the love and support for everything.
Right. No, and I appreciate you saying that because I know there's been times where JJ and I haven't showed up, but we still advertised, right? Especially with the Wrestle Prom. We wanted to be there, but we already had previous engagements before the Wrestle Prom was, alerted to, let's say. And, but I made sure specifically to clip out all of the information about that Wrestle Prom and drop those videos continuously throughout that week leading up to it to tell people, hey, go there. These are the reasons why. Despite the fact that I feel like I filmed the thing, that I want to, because, I know, normally speaking, I film them well in advance, and, AJ's video wasn't going to drop for 3 weeks, his stuff, but I made sure to clip it out and set it out anyways, because it mattered, right? It mattered, and it was worth it. And I respected the fact that the RWA and AJP and the rest of the Phoenix family actually really were loving to see those video clips. So it was an honor and a privilege, I would say, for sure.
That absolutely love that.
So, you started with chaotic. Obviously, I got a bias because Nepwa for life, right? But you said it yourself. You started with chaotic. How did you get into now my brain's wondering, how did you get into chaotic without having to join Nepwa?
So it's crazy because it's actually, I'll answer this question. I know you asked before, like how I got into to
Right.
wrestling as a videographer, like in general. So this is a great way to do it. So what happened is that in I think March of 2022, I was almost done with college. I was a senior in college, and I was continuing to watch wrestling, more and more as time went on, and then I slowly was discovering the indies and. Like, oh, cool. Maybe since I love professional wrestling so much and I love filming, maybe one day I could film for professional wrestling promotions. Maybe one day the WWE or AEW, but obviously that's a long ways away from now. That's obviously, the big dream goal. But for now, just starting to do promotions and everything. So I was looking up different promotions that were local in the Massachusetts area, because that's where I was, or Rhode Island, because those are the two that are closest to me. Um, and I came across, Beyond Wrestling or Wrestling Open. I thought it would be really cool. Reached out to them, didn't really hear much back at first because I guess I didn't really have. It's a big promotion. It's one of the most popular promotions in the New England area right now. And I didn't really hear anything back. And so I saw Limitless, thought that would be cool. They're up in Maine though, so traveling might be a little bit rough for me because I was only borrowing my grandmother's car at the time. I didn't have my own car at the time until I actually graduated. But it's crazy enough because I went on LinkedIn actually, and I came across Frankie Sabachi's. I think that's how you say his last name. I'm terrible with names. So I'm sorry, Frankie, if I spelled your last name incorrectly. But he's the head of production for Chaotic Wrestling. He's like one of the kind of like a producer basically for Chaotic. He's been with them for so long, and I was like, oh, Chaotic Wrestling sounds pretty cool. And so I reached out to him, and then he reached out to me, and we started messaging each other back and forth a bunch of times, asking about my experience and everything. And he asked me if I wanted to come in on a secret show that they were doing the following month in April. Nothing related to like any of their main storylines or main shows or anything, just a little side show, like not related to anything, just for business people and entrepreneurs. People were going to show up in their suits and ties and wearing lucha masks and whatever, which is a pretty cool way of, doing it, because pro wrestling is for anyone. It's truly like, that's what I love about it. So I showed up there, and he was doing ringside, and he asked me if I wanted to just do hard cam. And so I said, sure, I got to start off somewhere. So I did hard cam for that show. He looked over the footage and he reached back to me. He said I did a great job. I did everything that he told me to do. I was a good listener. And so ever since then, he started inviting me to more chaotic wrestling shows. And the more I went, the more I was doing hard cam and everything, and just doing whatever he told me and just following directions. And I was doing so good. I told him that I would love to do ringside eventually, like if I get the chance, because that's like my big goal. But obviously, I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to complain if I'm not going to get it. Like, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to earn that opportunity. And so eventually I did. I started doing ringside videography for them. Yeah, I think starting in like August or September of that year of 2022, I was slowly switching over to ringside, and basically I was doing being one of their ringside videographers for like the remaining 4 years I was there. So like, just being able to work with a promotion, at least one promotion, was already like perfect. I can add that to my to my resume of film experiences. And then, in 2023, the following year, Frankie had the idea of creating Fight Life, and so he asked me if I wanted to be one of the camera guys, hard cam for Fight Life, and I said, sure, why not? I'll do whatever you guys want me to do. I'll work for as many as you want me to. I want to get my foot in the door. I want to continue building the experience. And so I started off doing hard cam for them, and then slowly worked my way to being the main ringside camera guy for Fight Life as it is today. And then obviously RWA came along because he also works for RWA as well. He asked me if I wanted to help out there, and same thing as always. Started off with hard cam and then became RWA's main camera guy, like on ringside, to where I am today. So, and the rest is pretty much history. I'm getting more and more opportunities, and I am truly grateful for Frankie and for Chaotic Wrestling for giving me this opportunity and being who I am, and just having these opportunities. And sadly, Chaotic Wrestling and I have parted ways earlier this year, but no bad blood or anything like that. Just the scheduling conflict was a little bit complicated, but I wish nothing but the absolute best for them. I support them all. I support them always because they're the ones that got me here in the first place. So now I'm getting to do Wrestling Open, Beyond Wrestling. I got to do Limitless. Like I'm doing my dream goals because Wrestling Open and Limitless is where I wanted to go in the first place, and now I'm actually doing it. Like it's crazy. It's an insane journey.
Yeah, kudos to you for working your butt off to get there. And there's just something wonderful to say about those kind of goals, right? There's just so many people might be like, oh, especially in the wrestling world. This is why the tribalism thing is so silly, because they're like, well, if it's not the WWE, it's not wrestling, and it's like, yeah, that's not actually how that works, sir. But there's just the fact that you had goals for yourself and you achieved them in whichever manner happened to work out. That's fantastic to hear. You know what I mean? Always got to celebrate those things, because so many people get to the part of their life where they realize they never even tried. And then, what did you ever do? Right? What do you have to do? Right? Just apply yourself. And if it doesn't work out, oh well, at least you could say you tried. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. No one hits 60 and goes, oh man, I should have really, been a customer call representative for a phone company or whatever. Like nobody's, I missed that chance to be a call manager. No. Okay. Live the dreams, man. Live the dreams.
Yeah, seriously. Like, and nowadays, recently I've gotten to work with like so many incredible talents, and wrestlers who either they used to work for WWE or AEW. People like Ivar, Buddy Matthews, Andrade, which recently I got to work with him, which was incredible. Wheeler Yuta, Mustafa Ali from TNA. Like, there's just so many amazing people that I got to meet. Leo Rush was one of them. Like, it's just insane. You watch these guys on TV for a while now, and the fact that you're able to work with them and like have a conversation, like, well, if you can have a conversation with them, like try to obviously, like ask them, like, how do you want this to go? Like, is there any moments in your match that you want to do? Like, obviously the wrestling fan in me is freaking out right now because I'm talking to these people, but the rest of the videographer, like professional side of me, needs to stay calm and act like a professional, saying like, okay, like we got to take this seriously, even though, like I said, the wrestling fan in me is like screaming for joy right now. It's truly an amazing thing.
Right. And I can't lie. I'll call myself out. I did the same thing last night. I realized I should say, I didn't say I realized this because I've known, for whatever reason, Matt Riddle follows me on Instagram. I don't know why. He does. He follows me. And last night I was sitting there and I noticed he was liking something I posted. And my brain was just like, what fucking world do I live in where Matt Riddle follows me on Instagram and likes my stuff? This is wild. What the fuck? It can't be real. This is not real. Yeah. Even when he started following me, I thought it was a gag because it was April 1st. It was April Fool's Day. And I was like, all right, maybe this is like a fan account. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, no, this checks out. And then I was like, no, I can't. No, this checks out. And then I literally handed my phone to somebody else and I was like, tell me that's Matt Riddle and not like somebody else. And he's like, no, that checks out. And I was like, sweet. And then they were like, can you tell him to follow me? And I was like, I don't know why the fuck he followed me. I can't tell him anything. I can't tell him anything. What do you mean?
You have no clue. You have to meet with him and ask him that.
Yeah. I was one of these days, I'm going to have to actually see him at a show and be like, hey man, do you follow me? What's up with that, bro? No, I don't know.
I don't have
Same
an
thing
issue.
with like Sergeant Slaughter. I don't know why Sergeant Slaughter follows me. I don't know. And I saw him earlier this year and I was too afraid to ask. I was like, I'm going to ask him. He's like, who the hell are you? I'm like, I don't know. You follow me. And he's like, I don't know. Yeah.
One of the most random people ever, and they have no memory.
Yeah, exactly. He just clicked me anyways. It's fine. But Matt Riddle actually likes some of my videos. What the hell? What? My brain was, I took a screenshot last night and sent it to a couple people and I was like, this is my life now. Haha. So, you know,
I have wrestling friends now, and Matt Riddle follows me like
exactly
on top of the world now.
Wow. It blows your mind. So, you know, ringside camera work, it's got to be intense, right?
Well, yeah.
You're getting all up in the action, all up in the business, all up in everything. You know, what's it like being on the hot seat, I guess is my question.
There's a lot of pressure, you know, being a ringside camera guy, especially if you're the only ringside camera guy, because I'm currently, you know, experiencing that like today. Like, you know, like I said, for RWA, I'm their only ringside camera guy. At Focus Pro Wrestling, I am the only ringside camera guy. It's tough, you know, when you don't have another camera guy who's ringside to like capture that side of the area, and I have to capture this side of the action of what's going on. It's a lot of pressure, but I enjoy it. Like, I enjoy that pressure. I like being put on that spot, you know, just knowing what's going to happen and just being able to get that footage and to get that shot of like what's going to happen, like, you know, whether it's inside the ring or outside the ring, regular matches, no disqualification matches, death matches, steel cages. Like, there's just so much like insane like action like being put right in front of your face. It's almost like you literally get like you get front row seats of literally the whole action. But like, even better than that, you're filming the action, and just having that honor is just so much fun for me. It takes a lot out of me, you know, obviously, because, you know, you're right next to the ring. Everything's so loud. The fans behind you are so loud. They'll cheer, they'll boo. Like I said, you know, if there's like, you know, any weapons involved, like, you know, it's going to be loud. Like it rings your ears a lot, especially, you know, with the entrance news, the entrance music as well. Like that takes that, however, you know, sound they want, like it blares into your ears. Like it takes a lot mentally out of you. Not so much physically. I mean, I know I'm like, you know, I'm holding up the camera like with my arms for like a long period of time, but there are times, you know, where I could, you know, take breaks and everything. But obviously, you know, I'll feel a little sore here and there with my arms because I'm holding up the camera for so long. Like, I give a ton of credit for the camera people who work with WWE or AEW. Like, they hold like these giant, massive, like business looking cameras, and they have to hold it up with one hand, like with one arm, like the whole time. They can't switch over to another arm or anything. It's all like on one hand. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, like, as time goes on, is try to see how long I can last, like holding the camera with one hand or whatever, and seeing how long, like, if my arm will hurt after that, see if I'm truly ready for the next step. But no, it's truly a lot of fun. There's definitely a lot of pressure being put on me, you know, trying to capture as much as I can. But like I said, I enjoy that pressure. I love being put on the spot and just being in there with all the action and everything. Like, it's a blast.
I mean, you're not wrong when it's very indescribable to be someone who truly is operating a camera in a certain way at a certain event, right? Because so many people are like, well, I've been on my phone before, and it's like, it's not the same. You're recording, you being like 90 feet from someone on stage and like recording the whole concert on live isn't the same as being in the action, my friends.
No, it's not.
I don't mind telling you.
If people want to come up to me saying like, "Oh, this doesn't look so hard," like this doesn't look so hard, I dare you to do it with like no experience. Like if you're not like trained for, if you're not like trained for this or prepared, like I dare someone to try and do that if you think that you can do it. Like it's not as easy as you think it is. Like for some cases, it might be a little bit easy, but when it comes to certain matches, that stuff is hard. I'm telling you, like it's challenging. Like if at best do hard cam, like that's honestly the easiest the easiest one to do because you're far away from the action. Everything's not so close to you. You're controlling it on a tripod. You can like take breaks if you need to, but like obviously stay and stay as stay with the action as much as you can. But yeah, it's a lot, man. It's the fact that I was able to not necessarily like well I gotta say like being trained to do this, I was given a lot of advice and a lot of instructions on like what to do, like what shots to do when they go up there, make sure the camera's wide when they're on in when they're selling it on the floor, make sure you zoom in on their faces, like make to get them their reactions of selling everything on the mat. Like there's very specific instructions on how to do it, and you got to make sure you follow up with it. Like if you don't, then it's gonna lead to some issues.
Of course, right? The boss wants what they want, and the fact that I mean it must get is it tough at times trying to, because I would assume there are promotions that want something a little differently than others, right? Everybody has their presentation style. Everybody's trying to do things a little differently. So my brain would assume conscientiously here, you have to be aware of the idea of Focus Pro likes it this way, RWA likes it this way, Limitless likes it this way, because maybe somebody's like, no, don't get too close. We could always zoom in and post, right? Or some people like, no, I want you all up in the business as if there is no other thing to do besides zooming on their whatever, right? So how do you keep those type of details? Do you have a notebook or something? Like you just got it all in your head? What do you do?
Honestly, I got it all really in my head. Like everything that all the promotions that I worked with, they're basically, the same as, given instructions on like, what to do, like how you're supposed to film it for a regular match. Like that doesn't change really anywhere, like in the different promotions. Like obviously, when it comes to, their entrances, obviously the areas are different. So you got to make sure like you get that, of course. But, it's different, obviously, when wrestlers come up to you and they tell you specifically like what they're going to do, like whether it involves their entrance, if they're going to come through the crowd, if they're going to come through anywhere else, the spots that they're going to do like in the match, like that's the hardest part to try and remember when they come up to you and ask you, well, or they tell you like, this is what's going on. I need you to be here like for this. I'm going to be doing like a sunset flip. I'm going to be doing like a 460 like off of there, and then I'm going to be doing something else, and then we're gonna clash together. Like there's so many instructions to like follow up on, but it doesn't happen like all the time. So my brain doesn't always like, feels like it's about to explode or anything. It doesn't happen all the time, but that's why these shows aren't like a daily thing all the time. They're not, besides, Wrestling Open and everything, but like shows like, RWA and Chaotic and Focus Pro and Limitless, like these shows happen like, once a month at least, or at least twice a month. So there's not so much going on inside my head. It's only, when it's showtime that, you gotta like stay focused and everything. But honestly, I don't really take that many notes, even though maybe I should, but I'm pretty easy. I'm able to get all these things like in my head and pretty much remember like what the cue is, like what's going to happen after and everything. Like, and sometimes what's nice is that for some promotions, they'll give me, they'll write down, like the matches of what's going to happen and like little side notes and everything. They'll like take pictures of it and send it to me through my phone. So I'm able to like look at it like before showtime and make sure like, okay, yeah, after this is what's going to happen. And then after that, I have to go over here for that moment. Like it's good that, the promoters are able to like keep track of everything and let us videographers like know what's going to happen so that we're able to get that footage and deliver, you know?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to any kind of relationship, communication is key. If you are not giving people proper instructions and directions, don't be surprised if they miss the mark. Boom. No pun intended there. Um, it's so true. You know, and we've talked about all the stuff you've done near the ring, close to the ring, but I know you've done at least, like with Mike, some promo work. What was it like switching into that realm?
That was a lot of fun, honestly. Like, it's very different compared to filming little promos and little vignettes for like basically like video packages, basically for that, compared to filming wrestling. There's definitely a lot of difference, but filming content for people is a lot of fun. Like, having being able to create videos, which is something I really want to continue doing more, like not just filming, for wrestling shows, but also create content for shows or for wrestlers and try to help build themselves up, because that's what a lot of content creators do. They try to like film for specific promotions and everything. They want to like help build the business and everything. But like one vignette that I did with Mike Grassa a couple years ago, because he was. It's a funny story. I like it when people ask me this story. He was coming back from an injury that he suffered in RWA, and he had to relinquish the RWA championship, which was a sad day for a lot of us fans. But he was recovering, and he was almost ready to come back, and he reached out to me out of nowhere. He sent me a text message saying like, "Hey, I'm going to be coming back shortly. Would you would you like to film something for me? Would you like to collab with me? Like, we go to like an abandoned location or somewhere creepy that's kind of like my vibe." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, let's do it. Like, if you want to like create like a vignette of like, your future return and everything, like, let's do it. I've been wanting to do this for a while now." And he and I just start sending each other multiple abandoned locations, just any cool areas where we can go and film for like whatever we need to get done. And eventually we came across an area in Rhode Island, I would say. Yeah, definitely in the Rhode Island area, in this abandoned mill area near this river. And we were just shooting some things for like 3 hours, and we both gave each other ideas of like, okay, yeah, what if you bring your mask over to this? What if I get some cool shots of this and get your reaction to everything? Like, it's a great way that he and I were able to build, like, collab and like come up with ideas. Like, because for me, like, I'm a big horror fan. I love supernatural, like paranormal, like creepy stuff. Like any dark character wrestlers that I get to work with is always a blast for me. And so having these ideas is just it lets my creativity like run wild. And we basically like filmed there. Everything looked so good. I started editing the video. It took like maybe, I want to say, like a week or two for it to get done, because I was just adding so much to it. And it came across as to what it is today. People can look at it on my Facebook or on my Instagram. Like, it's basically like the resurrection of the monster, Mike Grassa. And it was so much fun. I enjoyed it. Like, being able to film like little vignettes and content creation, like what I've actually also done for Focus Pro as well. I'm sure you and JJ have seen some of my little highlight reels of some Focus Pro shows. I usually do those whenever IWTV comes in and films their shows, and I don't really have anything to do, but they still want me to work and help out however I can. And I said, hey, why don't I use my own camera that I use for weddings and create some highlight reels for Focus Pro Wrestling shows, just to, like I said, help build the business. And they said that was a great idea. And so I've been doing that as well for Focus Pro, and it's been a lot of fun. And I want to continue doing those kinds of videos as well, like not just for Focus Pro, but also for other promotions as well, like RWA. Limitless if I get the chance of chaotic wrestling. If we come to a good deal for me to come back and help out whenever I can. Um, just any promotion that I want. Like filming ringside is fun, but I'm trying to like get into new skills.
Yeah, no, it's always great to push yourselves into new heights and to try something else and to enhance the product. Really, I mean, and you queued up about 15 things, so let's hit them all out of the park here. I mean, we got the Mind Eraser Mike Grossa in Focus Pro Wrestling, August 2nd, going up against the most marketable Richard Holiday. And you were talking about content. You're talking about one of the men who are literally one of the best professional independent wrestlers in the world right now. Literally one of the most talked about wrestlers, period, independent or otherwise, at this point. And when you're talking about content, I mean, this guy posts 3 times a day, right? I'm sure sometime in the very soon future, there's going to be a Focus Pro Mike Grossa call out or something, right? By Holiday, who is a pro, by the way. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to put it there. He's a pro, absolute pro.
One of the best.
So for sure. So it's incredible. And August 2nd, like I said, August 8th of the RWA show we were talking about, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't say that before. Let me say that now. I made sure to put that in my brain so I can put that back out. August 8th, if you want to help with the proceeds and donations and all that wonderful stuff. But I mean, I'm sure it's going to be great working with that guy for you guys in a week or so from now. And that show looks stacked. Focus Pro always has stacked cards, so it's not too much of a far-fetched concept or anything. Paul London, Brian Bayside, I can't wait to see that. That's going to be so good.
The amount of like creative matches, like random matches out of nowhere, like just gets your mind going. Like, oh my god, I never thought I'd see this happen. Oh, like this match is going to be happening. Like it blows your mind. Like just out of these random matches out of nowhere, but also obviously storylines as well. But it's so cool when you have just the most random matches like come in out of nowhere, like what you said, Grossa and Holiday. Like I don't think I've ever filmed them having a match together. Like I don't think I've ever seen them wrestle each other like ever. So I think for me, this is like a first time ever. So like that's truly amazing. Like that's like a fever dream for some people because so many people love and hate Richard Holiday and so many people love, kind of, I mean, who doesn't like Mike Rossa? Love and support, him for what he does. But to see these two wrestlers like clash together, like it's almost like a dream match in a way.
Yeah, I'm literally so hyped. I'm literally so hyped because I love Mike. Him and Katie are amazing. They're always so amazing. They've been on the podcast too, guys. I'm going to say it again. Especially to JJ, they're so great. They text her on a regular basis and all that stuff. It's fucking incredible. Thank you, Mike and Katie. I love you. So for them to have this match with Holiday, who is arguably at his peak right now, holy shit, that's incredible. It's great for Mike and Katie to be seen in the universe. It's great for Focus Pro to be putting on something with somebody like Mike Grossa, the Mind Eraser, who is a 15-year veteran of this business and knows what he's doing inside and out by now. So I think it's going to be an incredible match, and I think that it's going to be. You'd say fever dream. I'm in it. There are literally times I'm just like, oh, dude, Mike's going to kick this guy's ass, and I can't wait to see it. CineMark's Tombstone, baby.
I love it. That's what I love about professional wrestling, in general. Just you get these matches that you never thought would see happen and they just appear out of nowhere. So it's, like I said, it's an amazing way to like just give to the fans. It's truly amazing.
Right. And you're going to be ringside, man, with that camera getting to work. It's going to be awesome.
Can't wait.
Shoot. It's absolutely mind blowing. Absolutely mind blowing. I can't wait. I'm like a kid waiting for Christmas at this point. I really I'm reposting all the stuff they repost. And it's funny because I was doing it anyways, but then they're like, you might get free tickets. And I was like, sweet. And then they did the little spinning wheel to see who got the free tickets. And it went slow. It got to JJ's name. and then it just went one more, and I was like, this close, JJ, this close. It's all right. Next time. I mean, to be honest, I probably should just be working ring crew for those guys by now anyways. What am I doing? I work ring crew for everybody else. Why shouldn't I? What? I'll call Brian.
You
I love
should.
that guy. Brian. I love Brian. Oh, I put it all in the car. It was so great, man. The other day we went to APW and Brian was doing his entrance. He did a few laps around the ring. And at one point he you know, I put the video on my Rev Dude Instagram. He just gives me the look, and then he chucks his glasses at me. His you know, Brian Bayside sunglasses. And I was like, I gotta catch these glasses. So I had to kind of like dive a little bit for him. You know? So you just see from the camera, I just do like a 360 spin. And it was hilarious because JJ was not paying attention, I guess, because she didn't see any of that. But she looked up over me and she was like, where the fuck did you get sunglasses from?
Why did you look? Like,
and I was like, what?
Look, it only happened for like 5 seconds.
I was like, I'll show you the video later. Brian gave them to me. She's like, all right.
How things you just miss, and like you look down at your phone for like 5 seconds and you're like,
right. Yeah.
That thing came from.
Yep. I mean, obviously I was so focused on Brian's entrance. I don't know what the hell she was doing. She was standing right next to me, but like she missed it. It was great. Luckily I obviously got it on camera. It's the beauty of filming things is even if you miss it, even if somebody else misses it, they can still see it, right?
That's why we have it.
Why we have it. What? How can you say, like, how, in your opinion, how has filming wrestling helped you grow as a videographer?
It's really crazy because like I never knew I could really be like a videographer. I didn't know I really had the skills for it. But like, you know, my love for professional wrestling and my love for like filming, it's really helped me grow, like, you know, get the experience that I need, you know, because I do more than just, I'm sure you know this. I do more than just filming wrestling shows. I've done, I've filmed like high school games like football, basketball, soccer, like any high school sports teams for my local television studio in my hometown area called North TV. I've been with them actually. Started off as an internship with them in 2021, and then, you know, just became like, you know, part of the crew, like on the call crew, like, you know, just grab a camera. There's a meeting taking place or there's a play going on. Just grab a camera and go film that. And so like, you know, being with a professional wrestling team has helped me like grow like my confidence for filming, like not just wrestling, but like other things in general. And then obviously came in, being a wedding videographer for 3 years now, since 2023. Pro wrestling has definitely given me that confidence to like, you know, have it more experience, like working with a camera, like all different kinds of cameras. Cause there's like so much equipment to handle and like be in charge of. Like sometimes you lose track of what to do, like what camera to use, like what setting it is. Like there's a lot to it. It's not easy. Like it's really complicated, but you know, the amount of support and the amount of training and advice you give, like it works out like very, very well. As long as, you know, like I said, you get the support and the love and everything from people and from the wrestling. Like it really meant the world to me. Like it truly, like overall, like long story short, it built my confidence to be a videographer, like in general. And now I want to try and do it as a full-time career. It's tough now because, you know, like there's not a lot of jobs out there who offer like, you know, videography as full-time careers because you have AI, you have ChatGPT, you have like all these other things that are like taking over jobs, especially like, you know, for photographers and videographers. Like AI is like our biggest enemy right now because they're replacing us. So it's not good in these times. But you know, that's why I'm very lucky to have wrestling and weddings. You know, because now for weddings I used to, well, I still do, but I'll be departing from them later this year. I've been working for a company for 3 years now, but now I'm slowly developing into my own website, my own little business, which is fantastic. So it just goes to show how far I've come, you know, the skills that I've learned as a videographer, starting out from college all the way until now. Like it's been an amazing journey and I have no regrets.
That's wonderful to hear. What what advice would you give to someone trying to get into business right now? Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
For the for videography or
Yes, for video, for trying to get into the wrestling business. Someone comes to you like, "Oh, I want to do what you do." What would you tell them?
honestly, I would say like communication is always key. Always, reach out to promotions, like asking, especially on social media, because that's kind of like how people like do it nowadays. They reach out to these promotions on social media. It's communication is always the number one key. I will say it's funny enough because I went to college for communications and film, so it's all about communications. Like always, communicate with people. Always like listen to them. Like always, like let them give you some advice. Let them give you some pointers and everything. And if you want to, if you really do want to do it, you just gotta go through the process, and it's honestly a lot of fun. And if it's not for you, then it's not for you. I'm not going to push you. I'm not going to push you until you're doing it. At the end of the day, it's what you want to do in general. But definitely, if you wanted to like do like filming for wrestling in general, I would definitely say show up to shows, of course, learn about like what's going on, maybe film some matches with your phone. Start off small. Start off with like an iPad or a phone or whatever, like just kind of get the experience of like what it's like film an entrance or like film a match or whatever. Like just start small, and then continue doing it. Like maybe take a course or whatever, like and take a course for videography or whatever, like, or go to college. Like a lot of people say, oh no, don't go to college. Like that won't get you anywhere. Like for me, I would say go to college if you want to like pursue something in videography. Because I think to me, from my experience, it's worth it. Like, getting all the courses and getting the experience, like it really does help you a lot because people always say like, I'm not using my degree for anything. Like college was worthless. I didn't do anything. I didn't exceed at anything. I'm not using my degree for anything. But for me, I'm using my degree. Like I'm using it because it's something I want to do. So like if you, for those who want to do it, go out there and give it a try. And if I fully support you, and if it's not for you, then it's it's not the end of the world. You do whatever you want to do. But if it is, keep going. Honestly, like just keep doing what you like to do. I've always been a big supporter for people who want to pursue like videography as a full time thing or what they want to do for their career, especially with wrestling too. Because I've had a couple of friends ask me like, how do you do this? Like, how do we get in? And I'm like, well, communication. It's always the number one key. Talk to these people, reach out to people.
Good advice. And the one thing I would say for people, and I'll tell you this, and I'll tell anybody this: if you go to college for something in particular and then you open your own business, well, guess what? Your student loan debt is now you you can that's actually you can write it off on your taxes as a cost of the business. So people say, oh well, it's super expensive and now we got debt. You're not wrong, but if you open a production company and you have a communications degree, you are now eligible to write off your debt as an expense for your business. Just saying. Just saying. There's nothing wrong with saving a few bucks because Uncle Sam don't mind taking them. So you might as well try to keep as many as you can, my friends.
Seriously. It's all about, especially in these days, like, trying to save up money for as much as you can because you can barely afford anything these days. Like it's truly like insane what's going on in this society nowadays.
It's
But no, yeah, it's definitely definitely save up as much as you can. Like, don't go like for videographers, don't go out and buy the most expensive camera you can find. Like, don't go buy like a 4K quality, like big camera or whatever. Like, just start small, save your money, like do like very little small cameras, like that doesn't cost so much, may not have the best quality, but you gotta start somewhere. Don't go buying these like fancy schmancy cameras and then think like, oh
right.
yeah, just like
I mean,
you just waste your money away. Like it's not good.
They have my brain just lost the word for it, but they have those little 4K cameras you have. It's just basically like a stick, a little camera on a stick, and you can move it around. And one of the biggest things for me to start my channel is especially coming from such a over traditional background when it comes to film, right? I've had the luxury and the privilege of being able to hang out with the gentlemen of What Culture Wrestling on several occasions. Shout out Simon Miller, all the Adams, Andy H. Murray. The H stands for, hey man, give me a hug. How about that? So, those guys are wonderful. They're incredible. They're amazing. And they have some of the most watched YouTube videos in the wrestling community, right? Period. Bar none. And when I've seen them the first couple times, they were filming on a fucking iPhone. And then the last time I saw them, they had those little stick thingies. And I've seen so many, even a few video production companies walking around with those little. It looks like a stick, and it's got the tiniest camera, and somehow it can get 8K resolution. I don't know how the fuck that works, but hey, man, technology.
No, I wish I knew what there's a lot of cameras that I need to remember the names of because there's just so many. I wish I remember that one, but I do know exactly what you're talking about. I have a couple friends who are photographers and are like videographers as well, and they have like these small little gizmos for like filming and everything. And I look back at and like what they post on their social media, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is from this little thing. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that's insane. Like, I need to use now.
Right. And some of them are like $500. And it's like, whew, you can pay attention. I mean, there's a reason why I film with an iPhone, right? My brother, Michael, he goes hiking all the time. He lives in Arizona. He goes hiking in the mountains, and he's always taking these incredible videos of his hikes, and he does it with an iPhone 13 Pro. You know what I mean? It's like, holy shit. This isn't 1976. You don't have to carry around 72 rolls of film and mount a camera. This isn't. One of my favorite movies of all time is a movie by Alfred Hitchcock. It's called Rope. Most people have not heard about it or seen it. He actually filmed. The way he set up his camera is he literally had to essentially mount it on top of what was more like a golf cart or a go-kart and have it pushed around the room because the thing was so goddamn heavy. Now I can just take a magic little stick out and vlog all of Rome or whatever the fuck. Like it's in the technology, guys.
Holy
it's
shit,
there.
Just insane.
All right.
It's insane. I'm telling you. It's both like helps us out so much of this world, but also it's like the end of society. Technology can destroy us all. Like,
it's such
very helpful, or it can be destructive.
It's a catch-22 in general. For you, what do you feel like it takes the qualities to become a great wrestling cameraman? Like, is it anticipation? Is it quick thinking? Is it memorizing the format? Is it being up for anything? Like, what do you think works?
For me, it's always having an open mind. Like, I do, like I said, I've always been a good listener. I've always listened to what the promoter wants me to do. I have my own ideas, and maybe they'll get by everything. Like, what if we do this? Or what if we do this? And they're like, nope, we need to like make sure this happens, and then this has to go this way. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to fight or anything. Like, that's the kind of person that I think has helped me really get to where I am today, because I'm not really a complainer. I'm not going to fight with the promoters. Like, I just do whatever they tell me, and for the time being. And maybe if I've been in the business long enough and I have a couple ideas of my own that I might want to just politely ask, sometimes they'll say yes, and other times they'll say no. And that's just part of the business. I'm not in charge. It's up to the promoters to do what they want to do, and even the wrestlers too. Like, they're going over like what they're going to do and what they want captured. And so I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Like, I'm a pretty easygoing guy. Like I said, this is why I'm in this position where I am, because I'm just a good listener and I just follow the directions. And I try to do quick thinking. There are times where, where I mess up or I screw up for some moments and everything, but that's just part of it. You learn from these things, and they'll give you some advice. You'll have to like talk to them about what went wrong or what went right after. You just have to have a good you just need to be a good listener and just take the advice in. Like, don't just let it go over your head or anything. Like, oh yeah, like okay, but I know what's best for for what's going on. I'm like, no, you don't. You need to like listen to these key points and like take the advice. Like that's always a key point as well. Like, taking advice.
Yeah, I mean, being a veteran, right? I was in the Army. The whole idea of constructive criticism is just literally drilled into my brain. Like I don't think I could live in a world where I physically couldn't accept constructive criticism, because it is an absolute necessity in order to grow as an individual, whether it's professionally or personally. Because, ladies and gentlemen, you are born without the ability to walk or talk or eat without another human being teaching you and helping you. So is it really so shocking that the other nuances of this world need some granular details once in a while?
Seriously, like,
come on. Right?
like it's insane. It's good that you have some guidance and people are able to help you get to where you are today. Like, for me, on a personal side note, I'm I'm autistic. I've diagnosed with autism when I was like 4, and my communication and speeches haven't always been the best. And doing these sort of things, it's tough for me because I repeat things over and over. And some people, they have a lot of issues in these days, and they need the kind of they need the kind of guidance. And we're lucky enough to have it. Like, it's truly amazing. And being my autistic self, being a part of all these promotions and being accepting is just truly like a blessing. Seriously, like, it's the best thing you could ask for.
Props to you, right? I mean, my JJ's autistic, my other children are autistic, so it's I have been there for 24 years. I have seen their struggles. And yes, for anybody not paying attention, my son is 24. That's how math works. And I've seen their struggles, whether it's in life or at school, etc. And it can be very difficult, very overwhelming, very anxiety ridden. Just today, JJ got it all flustered because she was like, I want to be there, but I have this, but I have that, but I have this, but I have that. And I'm like, listen, it's not a big deal, right? You're going to see Mark next week anyways. I'll give him your best. Don't worry about it. Don't stress over it. We'll take this as a thing and we'll move on, right? For me, everything, and I tell this to my children, everything you do in life is a learning experience, good or bad. Doesn't
Absolutely.
matter, right? If you learn from it, there's no such thing as a horrible choice, because you did something and you thought to yourself, holy crap, I probably shouldn't have done that, right? Don't run away from it. Don't medicate. Don't hide from it. Embrace it. Realize that maybe I shouldn't have done that thing. So then next time you remember not to do that thing, right? Don't beat yourself to death because you made a mistake, because that's what we're human. We all make mistakes all the time. It's literally part of the nature.
Experience.
Life is a learning experience.
You only live once, live your life the best way you can. If you make mistakes, that's fine. It's all part of, growing up and part of living this life. Like I say, you only live once. So take whatever you can. Well, seriously.
You know what? I'm going to say it just because I'm very excited, right? So just the other day, so I don't know how much you know. I don't know how much the audience knows. I'm just going to cue you guys in. For anybody who wasn't paying attention, this year when I went to WrestleCon, I was brought into the very prestigious Samoan family. I am the honorary Us to one Zilla Fatu. Zilla Fatu, he has made me he is my tribal chief. All right. That is recently, all right. He has now been released from his, let's say, past problems. And now he is eligible to move on to higher experiences. All right. So what I'm hoping to see in the next month or two is him make his WWE debut is what I'm trying to say. Because I know that that's what he wants to do. He wants to go to the WWE, and now he can. All right. So with that being said, Oos told me this. He looked me in the face and he said, they say, you only live once. But that's not true. You only die once. You live every single day. And every single day that you wake up, you get to make yourself and the world around you a little better. What are you waiting for?
Every day above ground is a good day. That's what I always like to say. Every day above ground is always a good day. Take whatever you can. Seriously, you got to be you got to be the honorary oos for your tribal chief. Like, take it. Like any opportunity you have, just go for it.
And I made t-shirt, man. I made t-shirts. Says Zilla's honorary oos. It is on the way. I'm gonna be wearing that stuff. And I can't tell you off the top of my head the next time I'm gonna see him because he's been in Canada a lot. But you know, it's gonna happen. So I'm sure he's gonna be normally back in Philly. I probably gotta go back to Philly and see him again. And I'll show up with my honorary shirt and give him his best. Same thing with props to his mom. I don't know if you guys have seen the fan footage that was all over the internet this past weekend, but Mama Zilla, I love you, Mama Zilla, she got into the ring and gave one hell of a Samoan spike to the people going up against Zilla himself. I'm going to go find the video. Trust me. That's all I'm going to say. Go find the video.
I'll be finding that video for sure. I don't know if I've seen it, but I am going to watch that video.
I want to describe it. It's good. Just see it. Just see it. All right. So talking about wrestling, talking about how did you get into weddings? You know, you did sports, you did wrestling. Now you're doing weddings. You may be doing a wedding for some wrestlers, I hear. At least that's what the word was. Mike, I'm curious, how did you transition into that world?
It's crazy because I wanted to do other things besides, you know, just wrestling and filming sports and everything. So I thought it's just happened on a random day. Like, you know, why don't I maybe try doing weddings and see if I can be good at that? And so I applied for a promotion for a company, and I've been with them pretty much ever since. I know I'll be leaving them like in this August, actually. No, sorry, not this August, this October, due to a lot of issues that have been going on in the company. But they have been given, the good things I will say about them is that they've given me like a lot of tools and advice on, like, you know, how to do it, like how to film a wedding, like the key points and everything, like what you need to do. You need to communicate with, like I said, I'm always going to say this, communication is always the number one key. You have to communicate with the clients. You have to listen to them and make sure you know like what they want filmed on the wedding day. Like, you know, that being the first look with the couple, the first look with the father, some B-roll footage of the ceremony or the venue, the decorations, anything that you can do, any clips that you can make to make the videos longer. The ceremony, of course, the vows, the speeches, the dancing, like basically everything. It's good that, because, you know, I took a couple classes with the company, and they were able to, like, you know, visually like show me like on a PowerPoint presentation on how to do it. And so they've sent me out by myself to see if I can really do it. Cause I kind of wish I had another videographer with me. I kind of hate doing these things by myself, but you know, that's what they did. And the more I did it, the more I've gotten used to it, and the more I was able to handle doing all these things by myself. And, you know, like I said, the rest is pretty much history. I think I've done like over 50 or 60 weddings so far, like in the 3 years I've been doing this. Like, it's been so much fun. I've been given, not to, pat myself on the shoulder or anything, but I've gotten a lot of 5-star reviews on my profile that I was able to make on the company's website. They wanted all of us to have our own profiles, which was great. And just the amount of like 5 stars and paragraphs of responses from past clients of mine just saying what a great job I did is just truly amazing. You know, it really motivated me to like keep doing this. I'm like, okay, you know what? I think I may have found my passion. Like, wrestling is great and everything, but like, the weddings have always been like a number one priority for me. Like that's where honestly I'm. That's on no disrespect to the wrestling promotions or anything, but like this is where I'm making the most amount of money. Honestly, like this is where I've made the most amount of money, where I've getting the most experience with the more professional like cameras and equipment and everything, where I'm learning new things. Like weddings have been like so much fun, and like it's almost like you're a part of the wedding day basically. Obviously, you're working for them. Obviously, you're not a guest or anything. You're a vendor. You take your job seriously, but you meet so many wonderful clients who are just like so friendly to you, like so happy to like have you there. They're some of them are easygoing, some of them are a little bit more strict, like we really do need this, like they're hard. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do whatever, I'll do the best I can, and I'll get whatever you want me to get. Like I said before, and I repeat myself over and over, but I'm a pretty easygoing guy. I listen and I just do whatever they want me to do. It's not about what I want, it's about what my clients want. Like for clips, of course, for song choices, for their edited videos, because I've done like cinematic trailers, highlight reels, and full features, like all different kinds of edited clips. It's always about what they want. It's not really about what I want. Very very rarely do I get the request like, okay, yeah, handcuffs are off. You do whatever you want. Put whatever songs you want. I'm like, are you sure about that? I don't know if what if I put a song on there that you don't like? So I always want to ask my clients first, like, what they want, because that's what's important. But overall, the weddings have been a lot of fun. They've been my, like I said, they've been my number one priority. And being able to travel to all these different venues around New England that I've never been to before is insane. Like I've been to venues in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Hampshire, um, in the Cape area, Cape Cod. Been in the White Mountains here in New Hampshire, which where I am actually today. Just being able to travel to all these areas in New England and go to venues that I've never heard before is truly amazing. It's like a whole adventure. So I'm always having a blast, figuring out like what places I'm going to go to next. Like maybe one day I'll go to a wedding outside of New England, like maybe Florida, maybe New York, maybe California. That would be really cool. But obviously, we're not there yet. I've only gotten a couple of years of experience. I need a little bit more experience before I go all the way out there. But that's definitely a big goal of mine for sure. And maybe Block Island. That's always a cool place to go to. Um, um, Nantucket, which is always an island right off the coast of the Cape. Like any islands or beaches or mountains, like that's where my creativity is going to go through the roof, because like you have a beautiful scenic view of mountains or beaches or lakes or anything, like especially with a drone as well, because I'm also drone certified to fly drones for weddings. And whenever I'm at the beach or I'm at the mountains, oh boy, my creativity just flies through the fucking roof. Like it's so much fun. I love it.
I love to hear it, man. And of course, no disrespect for high school games or wrestling promotions. Money talks, guys. That's just life. And bills
Need
do
that
not
money.
pay themselves. They just
Nope.
do not. Okay. And
Gotta make a living somehow.
exactly. And doesn't matter what camera you're holding for whom. If they're the owner, the boss, etc., you're supposed to get what they want. It's not your project. Okay. Unless you're Steven Spielberg and you're brought the money so you can make Jurassic Park, it makes sense for you to do exactly what they want them to do. That just proves how, much of a professional you are to be able to do that in the first place. Not to mention, I mean, you've seen it a couple times. You said it a couple times, but I mean, I think they say Holiday's the most marketable. You're like the most likable, man. I don't know a person who would say a bad thing about you. So like, genuine the idea of like just getting along with everybody, shit that goes far. And honestly, I've had some people kind of come at me once in a while thinking, oh, maybe this guy's kissing butt because he talks about Focus Pro all the time or whatever. No, I'm just literally telling you like the fact that these people do a job, and without them, we wouldn't have XYZ. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the idea is that if Evan and DC and Brian and all those guys didn't put on Focus Pro, I wouldn't have all these memories of what I've seen there. If the Phoenix family wasn't running RWA down in Providence, you know what I'm saying? It kind of just keeps going on hand in hand. If these people, if Chase and Smashmaster weren't running Chaotic Wrestling right now, if these people weren't doing what they did, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So why wouldn't we thank them for that? It's just courtesy at that point. It's not kissing ass. It's just courtesy. So it's like people these days. I don't know. But same thing with your clients, right? If these people didn't give you the opportunity to genuinely, capture these wonderful moments and show them like what you got, then what would you do, right? The idea of a drone, that sounds pretty sweet. I've been kind of looking at those things, but boy, can they get pricey pretty quick. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, the drone that I owned was like a little over $1,000. Thankfully, my dad was able to help pay for half, and I was able to pay for half because we want to take turns flying the drone, like, for recreational purposes. Like, there's a difference between recreational and commercial use. Like, recreational is, for your own time, fly around a lake or do any fun activities or whatever. But commercial is for weddings and real estate and television, like basically anything like for a business. So it's very, very useful to use. Like, and it's tough to do because you have to take a drone test and everything. And I'm telling you that exam is no joke. Like, you have to study, and learn a lot about it. Like, I failed my first exam, but I was able to pass very tightly with the second time, because you need like a 70% or higher in order to pass, and I got like a 73. So that was really close. So I'm thankful enough that I'm able to pass it, and now I have my license, and I can do what I want, but as long as I'm careful, of course. I don't want to do any of these stupid things that kids do nowadays and like fly their drones into people's houses or like break things and like fly around the house, like
start forest fires. Just no.
Oh, God, yeah, it's so awful.
People need to behave. We'll just say that much. Allegedly, people need to behave, as my lawyer would like me to say.
Really behave.
So, you transitioned into all that, and I think it's great. Do you get to I know you get to work within the confines of the spaces that you are working with, whether it's the sports, whether it's the wrestling, whether it's the weddings. But do you ever get to maybe produce something just on your own creativity, like just your own creative spark? Like, do you play with those spaces at all?
A little bit. I mean, the stuff that I usually create or like I produce are mostly, for wrestling. Cause like I said, I create content, I create like little videos and everything. They're all under like my vision and my creativity of like what goes on in my head. But it's actually really cool because there was one time for North TV when I started off as an internship. I never told this story. I don't think I ever told you this, but I got to direct, edit, and like produce my own documentary film about how COVID-19 affected my hometown of North Attleboro at the time, because I live in a North Attleboro, Massachusetts, and I was given the option if I wanted to do a documentary for my create a documentary film for my internship and like get the experience, and so I was able to do that the summer of 2021, just going around my hometown interviewing school principals, superintendents, owners of specific restaurants that had to shut down due to the COVID, because everything was a mess. Everything had to be shut down. Everything was all online. So I wanted to get their stories about what they had to do for doing online stuff, or what they had to go through for COVID, and if any of their family members were affected by it. I was just interviewing people like over and over. I think I'd interviewed like maybe like 10 or 12 different people, and I was able to make it long enough to last like, to make the documentary film last like 30 or 40 minutes long, which was one of my biggest goals, honestly. I can definitely say that for sure, because it's on their YouTube channel. North TV's YouTube channel. It's there like forever, which I'm very happy about. I can look back at it now and just see how far I've come. Starting off with filming, being able to film that to where I am today is amazing. But yeah, I would say definitely doing my own things. It's a little bit tough. I don't usually do my own things that often, even though I kind of really want to. I wouldn't mind actually doing another documentary film about maybe 'cause like I said before, I've always been uh, very into like supernatural, paranormal, like creepy looking
Right.
stuff. I've always been interested in like checking out like abandoned locations, figuring out like what happened, like where things where things went wrong, like interviewing people. And then also I've always been big into, like I said, into paranormal. I've done actually some paranormal investigations with a friend of mine, and we like to go to different locations and you know uh, create our own little videos, because we have our own little Instagram as well, which is a lot of fun. And going to different haunted locations and seeing out, if there's ghosts there, if there's some things that move, if things feel off, we want to capture evidence because we were always a big fan of that stuff. Watching things on the travel channel or Discovery Channel, like we were always into that stuff. So paranormal stuff is kind of like stuff that I like to do, like from time to time for my own little projects. But mostly it aims more towards wrestling in general. But I definitely wouldn't mind doing my own things. Like I've always been a big skier as well. I want to create maybe some skiing content because I love to ski. I've skied ever since I was like 5 years old. It's been like my number one love for sports besides wrestling. But I know I created a little like a quick little minute long video of myself skiing on my Instagram, and just being able to create more content like that. I'm definitely down for sure. I just gotta wait until the winter comes. you know,
Right.
these things take time, but I'm always willing to try so many other new things.
I love that you hit like 6 other questions that I was going to ask you in the same answer. Like, I love the synergy right now because I definitely had how you're into skiing, into nature. I was going to ask about all that. And I was going to ask about North Attleboro. And I had like a couple other things. And I'm like, he just knocked them all out of the park. This is amazing. I love it.
Thank
Uh,
you.
I guess,
Sorry
I
that I never
guess,
let you ask the questions. I should have let you ask the questions first before I answer them. I sometimes ramble on.
no, it's beautiful because it just means that you're thinking the way I was hoping you'd think, and I didn't have to ask the question for you to get there. You were just already there. I love it. Right?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's genius. I love it so much. So you touched on skiing. I know you love nature. And I was going to ask, because mental health is a big thing, right? It's a big thing for me specifically. So I always like to ask, do those hobbies, do they help you recharge outside of filming, outside of your work?
Absolutely. Like the things that I love to do, when I'm not filming or I'm not doing like any work related. One of the best things I like to do is one, skiing, of course. It helps clear my mind off of a lot of things. Just being in nature, like going for nature walks, like just being in the middle of nowhere is just, it's hard for me to describe it. There's just something very soothing and very relaxing about, being surrounded by nothing but mountains and trees, and there's no cities, there's no loud noises because those things irritate me like a lot. Like I deal with that shit on a weekly basis. So just being able to just do my own thing, go for walks, hang out with friends, which I like to do. But I've always been kind of like an introvert. So there are times where, I do want to hang out with friends, but there are times where I just don't want to do anything. I just want to be alone and just be alone with my thoughts, collect everything. But yeah, I definitely would say being out and going out in nature and just surrounding myself with forests and hiking too is definitely a good thing because I definitely do a lot of hiking here in New Hampshire. So that's always a key thing to like keep myself calm and just like any stress that's on my mind, I just hike my problems away. So it's always been so much fun.
Which is great. I know a couple of people like that. Like I said, my brother Michael does it all the time. He's always hiking. I got I got another buddy I used to work with that's literally his entire life. He'd always just be showing me his app where he'd be like, this is how long I hiked. This is how far I hiked. This is all the vert I got. These are the angles and stuff. And I was just like, you're in the weeds, man. I don't know what half of this is, but good for you, bro. You seem very excited for your super walk. And luckily here in New Hampshire, we have like a million trails. So it really helps out. It's a million things you can be hiking or walking on. And even just the rail trail. I know a couple times I told him we should try the rail trail because there's the one that's over in, like, it basically starts in Londonderry and it goes all the way down to Salem, like New Hampshire. So it starts in Londonderry, it goes through like Derry, through Salem. It even goes down to Haverhill and stuff. So like that, once again, would be fun. There's a lot of those rail trails, that are around because we don't use the railroad as much as we once did. So it makes sense to turn them into something more useful. But it's good to hear that you're diving into that and you're making sure you recharge yourself. Obviously, you're on vacation, so that answers all that stuff too. And the idea that you get that you're on the hot seat, but you love being on the hot seat, but you're also clearly smart enough to like know when it's time to take a break. Genius.
Yeah. We all need to take a break every once in a while. Like this week specifically has been like the most relaxing I've been in a long time. Like I'm telling you, these past few months have been like the most struggling that I've been with for like so long. Like I do Wrestling Open Mondays, Thursdays, sometimes Saturdays for Beyond Wrestling or Focus Pro. I do weddings on a Saturday or a Sunday or whatever. I work in a retail job, like on my weekdays. So I try to combine all of that. Like I'm telling you, it takes a lot out of you, like mentally and physically, to a point where like you really do need to like take a break. Because I won't go into too much detail about this, but there was a time actually at a recent Focus Pro show where I was just so exhausted, like in the middle of the show, like I was so exhausted. I was very lightheaded. I thought I was going to pass out in the middle of that show, like filming like ringside. Like I was just so lightheaded. I didn't know what was going on. I felt like I was dehydrated and I didn't eat enough. Like that was a really huge signal to like say like, okay, your body and your mind needs to take a break. Like you need to recharge. Like that was a big sign right there. So I'm glad that I'm doing this now and like just taking the time that I need. So I'm looking forward to coming back, obviously, and back to doing what I love. But obviously, I'll take my time and go slow with everything. And if I really do need to take, a couple other like days off, like I'll do it. It's for mental health is the number one thing, obviously. Like taking care of your health is the number one.
Yeah, and I advocate it all the time. Me and JJ talk about it because, we go to shows and we're not just sitting there watching, being observant like most people. We are running around trying to get shots too, right? And we have to do it from a completely different perspective because we're not paid, so we can't be all in the ring trying to get the good stuff. But like myself, I gotta hike that stick up in the air and just try to not get pushed over half the time.
True. I'm telling you, these fans.
So many people moving and moving and moving, and just like, bro, can anybody sit still for like a minute? I don't want to have to keep readjusting my camera, bro.
It's so tough whenever these venues are just so small and like there's crowds of people like surrounding you and it feels so hot in there. You feel like you're sweating and like not a lot of people are moving and it's just it's bad, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. There are times where I get home and my shoulders are killing me. You know what I mean? My feet are killing me. I'm just like, I gotta stretch. Me and JJ try to, make sure we drink enough water. We bring all 75 water bottles and eat plenty of food before. I try to get at least a protein shake in or something so I can not be all whatever. Because I can tell you right now, there have been times where I've gotten through like halfway through a show and I'm hungry and it's not a good drive home. I'm like losing my mind. Like, so for me, I'm actually I have celiac, so I have gluten free. I can't go to Mike and Lenny's and grab a pizza. I would die. So, you know what I mean? There's times where I got to be more strategic with my food than most people should ever have to be. And I'm also a vegan, which is, I get a conscientious decision I made, so I can't really complain about it too much. But being a gluten-free vegan, It's not like you're driving home at 11 o'clock at night, you're going to pull over to Wendy's. You know what I mean? It's another gas station granola bar for me. So I got to be conscientiously aware of this so I don't, burn out eating 6 bags of chips.
Yes. Taking care of that is like the number one thing. Like, make sure you're eating the right foods and it gives you enough protein to, like, stay awake to
Right.
get you home. Cause I'm telling you, these late night drives, especially for me as well, like after a show or whatever, like it takes it feels like it takes forever to get home. Like it's as soon as you get home, you just crash. And that's exactly what I do.
Just boom, done. Just
Good
done.
night.
It's exhausting. But shower, bed, maybe a snack. I don't know, but definitely ready for bed. And then it's up the next day to edit. And I feel like I'm always editing, just always editing, just like edit. It's just like, which is why I made that app, man. I made an app to post things on the internet to make my life so much easier because it didn't exist. And I was like, forget it. Once again, technology. It's helpful. It's scary. It's everywhere in between. But in this particular instance, I made that app and now the robot is literally just batch shipping out all my photos so I don't have to worry about it, which is wonderful.
There you go.
So, man, I feel like we've hit everything I've been hoping to talk to you about in general, because normally when we're talking, we're both busy. Yeah.
We're busy nonstop.
Pretty busy. So I guess we should. No. You kind of answered some of these. You answered some of these, and you answered some of those. And it's once again, it's great. The fact that I had things written down and you just organically brought them up anyways, just goes to show that we're in the same headspace, and I like it. I always genuinely appreciate that. It makes my job easier, and it makes it seem like you get to talk more. So it's kind of a win-win. I guess I could say I got 2 last questions for you, really. So the number one being, I guess we already kind of started listing them. Where can people find your content? How about that?
So people can find my content. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram. You can find me on Snapchat if you wanted to. I've always been big with social media, but there are some social medias I don't really use that much, like Twitter or X, whatever the hell they call it nowadays. Any of that stuff. But no, you can mostly find me on Facebook, which is Mark Bassler, which is my real name, not just like CineMark. But you can find me on Instagram, CineMark_77, and as well as for my weddings. If anyone in the New England area is looking for a videographer to film their wedding, their friend's wedding, or their family's wedding, or whatever, you can find my website, www.cinemarkweddings.com. You can also find my content for weddings as well on Facebook and Instagram. Again, for Facebook, CineMark Weddings, and for Instagram, CineMark_weddings. I gotta try and come up with other usernames besides just the same things. It's crazy. But yeah, mostly Facebook and Instagram is where people can really find me. And I'm continuing to do more and more, continuing to do more content in the future whenever I get a chance. And also, if people wanted to, I am also on TikTok as well. And people wanted to just look up my TikTok. I'm looking up right now at CineMark_77, where I just, post things that are wedding related, but also, just fun little goofy videos that I like to make, especially back at the time when it was COVID and you had nothing to do and all you could do was just scroll on TikTok and make TikTok videos. That's kind of like where I got my creativity to make and edit videos. TikTok has always been a huge like tool of mine to edit and create videos. So you check out my TikTok as well for CineMark_77.
Awesome. And I think it's great that you have the brand synergy there, as they would say, because the last thing you'd want is somebody else stealing the name on a platform and then people thinking you're this other guy. So
yeah, no, you don't want that.
I know how that is, because if you go right now and you search for the Rev Dude, you'll find 8 fake accounts with my face on them that have nothing to do with me, but they exist. But
Unbelievable.
I'm on the Rev Dude 999 because the Rev Dude got banned because of nothing, and then the Rev Dude 99 got banned because of nothing. But for some reason, 8 people can pretend to be me, and that's okay. I don't.
Unbelievable.
Which then I had to actively update my X and my TikTok to be the Rev Dude 999. But I digress on that one.
Yeah.
Jeez.
You gotta find some way. You know, if it's 999, then let's try and keep it that way, and no more of these
Right.
fake accounts, because I'm telling you, they're everywhere. Luckily, no one has
Yeah.
ever tried to do it to me, or like create like other accounts pretending to be me yet. Hopefully, that doesn't happen. But if it is, I'm calling all of my wrestling friends to go and suplex these people and beat them up.
Yeah, dude, it's super weird. I know us JJ really is got the heebie-jeebies of it because her pictures are on some of these things too, and she's like, it's just creepy. It's creepy. You creepy weirdos, get a life. That's all I can say. Get a life.
Seriously, they have no
Or
life.
get a job. Get a job, you bum. How about you just go get a job and go do something else and leave me alone? Sounds good. Not to mention, like, at my peak, I only had like 5,000 followers on my first Instagram anyways. It's not like I had like 1 billion people. So why the fuck would you steal from me? It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. I'm not that fucking pretty, guys. Get over yourself.
Oh, come on. No. They love what you do, and they want to try and be
Apparently.
you. Nobody can be the Rev.
Apparently. Makes no sense.
Nobody can be the Rev Dude.
The Rev Dude. Oh, man. It is something else. I know you got to have the experience. Well, isn't it something else to have the GOAT, Rich Palladino, call you to the ring?
Oh my God. I'm telling you, Rich Palladino is, my opinion, the greatest ring announcer in the indies of all indie shows. He is the GOAT. He is king. He is the best. Like, so I'll say this real shortly. In a short story, when I was doing the Thanksgiving Throwdown Rumble on RWA, Bob Whitney sadly wasn't available because he had either had another show or he had something else going on that day. So Rich Palladino got to take over for him, and the fact that he got to say he didn't say CineMark, unfortunately, but he said Cameraman Mark, which is another nickname people can call me, which I'm not against. Call me Cameraman Mark, CineMark, whatever you want. Like, but CineMark has always been like, my main, nickname and everything. But the fact that I got to be called CineMark into the ring by the greatest ring announcer in the indies, like that's a true honor, and I'll never take that for granted.
Yeah, he is, as I like to say, he is my personal GOAT and savior. All right. Palladino, in my opinion, he is the greatest of all time, indie or not. I would take him over Howard Finkel any day. He doesn't like when I say that. He disagrees completely. He's a very humble person. And Rich, I love you, but he's been doing this longer than most than I think you've been alive, to be honest. Actually, now that I think about it. And,
I would say so, probably when I was a baby.
Right? So this guy is he was Rich Palladino. I love this guy. He was amazing. I've been fortunate enough at the Open to share the ring with him 4 times at this point, which is phenomenal.
Remember,
and at Focus Pro, he announced JJ and I for that whole Diego Izzy thing, which was great. And at the RWA show, he announced JJ and the Gecko because we sponsored Selena, and there's been a couple of times we've sponsored people, and he's done JJ and the Gecko, and it's just like every time you're just like, yes, you know what I mean? It's like it's a bucket list. And when I tell people about Rich, I say, like, to me, he's like the godfather of like New England wrestling. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, who doesn't like Rich? If you don't like Rich, there's something wrong with you, because there's nothing wrong with Rich.
No, if you have a problem with Rich, I will fight you for it. Like, he is the greatest. Like, nobody can say
exactly. Period. You don't like Rich, you're probably not walking out of the building with a face that looks pretty anymore. That's all I'm saying.
You don't
allegedly. Allegedly, you're not walking out of there pretty. My lawyer would want to make sure I say that. Allegedly. It was not premeditated. It happened in a moment. It's not my fault. So awesome, man. This has been honestly genuinely great to have a great conversation, to sit down, hear your story, talk about your stuff, because you're a super cool dude. I literally see you everywhere all the time. And, you know, we standing on the sidelines know that, you know, you're integral. We know that you're loved. I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen you with 1,000 pictures of guys like Cody or John or whoever else. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, it's lovely to be part of the family and to have you part of the family because you're such a good guy, man. So I very much am thanking you for being here today.
Of course, man. Thank you so much for having me. Like, it's truly an honor, I'm very lucky. I gotta give a big shout out to, my family, my friends, and three things that I'm really like grateful for is like, my friends, obviously, for the support that they've given me for showing up at shows and doing, supporting me, like, joking around with me. Like, it's so much fun. I love them. My family for, doing their best to support me and like trying to do supporting me, like, trying to do what's best for me, even though my parents aren't really like the biggest fans of like professional wrestling. They don't really get it that much, which I can understand. It's not everyone's cup of tea. So I'm not gonna hate them for it because they're my parents. I love them. But they've always, supported me for what I've done for filming in general. And third is, always just my health, just being able to be who I am and not be shut out by anyone and like being accepted for who I am and the skills that I'm capable of doing and trying to help these promotions grow. Like, it's truly the best experience that I could ever ask for. Seriously, the past like 4 years of being a part of it has been so much fun. And no, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the future in the next 4 years, or I'll go however long I can go. Cause you got to make a living and, sometimes you got to sacrifice things. You can't do things as much as you want to, but you always try to do the best you can. So I can't wait to see what happens in the future.
That's wonderful, man. We get to end the show with a little CVV magic. All right, there you go.
True.
And for anybody who hasn't seen the videos of me meeting that guy, go back and watch him because he's a wonderful person. And it was a pleasure to meet this man for sure. CVV is great. But yeah, once again, Mark, thank you so much for being here today. I genuinely appreciate it. For anybody wondering, the next scheduled podcast is supposed to be with Sylvan. He is coming on the podcast and he is going to be explaining everything, honestly, especially with his upcoming appearances at Supernova. And we just saw him at New Order Wrestling. Just after him, it should be Deliciously Vicious Vern Vicalo. He was going to be set up for a show. I have the premiere. Lewis, he's going to be coming on, and Killa J is scheduled as well. And there's a few other fun surprises up the Rev Dude sleeve. So more to come. Once again, guys, if you hear me mention a name and then the next time I pop up and it's not them, that's because of the nature of the beast. I was supposed to have I've had a couple people that were supposed to be on the show on a Saturday, and then they got a booking. What am I going to do? Be mad at them because they took money? Oh, well, blah, 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 blah. It is what it is. It is what it is, guys. That's just the nature of the beast. So, yeah, I think those are going to be great shows and been very much looking forward to them. I've had wonderful conversations with those guys, and hopefully you guys tune in for the next one. So once again, Mark, thank you for being here today. And for our audience today, you have a good day. Peace.